the very first thing in my life is that passion that he has inside of me, that will keep me going, it'll keep me moving, and it'll keep me having that fire burning that burns deep, deep inside. And I don't want that fire to ever go out. And yes, I admit that it has gone out sometimes, and I think everybody, everybody, it has gone out. However, we know who God is. Anybody who's ever served him before and has talked to him and has known a relationship with him, we know who he is. We have seen him for first-hand basis. Mm-hmm. We haven't had anybody talk about him. We've been able to talk to him. And it's a big, big difference whether we talk about him or we're actually talking to him. And some people, they give us too much credit. The world gives us too much credit sometimes when they themselves don't know how personal of a God we serve. And we need to get rid of anything in our hearts that will keep us from God, because it's not meant to be there in the first place. We just like to keep it there because that's where we feel comfortable with. That's where our comfort zone is. God gets angry with righteous anger, an anger that breathes fire from heaven. When his ways are not being brought out the way they should, he is our general, and there are consequences when we do not heed his instructions. It brings destruction not only to ourselves, but to anyone who could potentially be around us for any reasons. Have you ever heard anybody being like a ticking time bomb? That's a symptom of a person who has not surrendered their lives to God completely and has not begun to weed the hatred and the anger that they have inside. That is a huge symptom. Any little thing will get to them. Any little thing. And that is something that you work out with God, that you say, this is not me anymore. This is not where I'm going to go anymore, because God is in my life, and nothing can separate me from the love of God. Mm-hmm. Nothing is going to keep me back from the passion that God has put inside of me. You need to move forward. You need to go. We need to breathe and know who God is. Yep. Some people are so, and I can be like this sometimes, so uppity that if anything doesn't go their way, they will totally turn around and be a complete 180 to the point where they are just, you don't even recognize them anymore because of the devil getting a hold of whatever is inside of them that has eaten away of their heart, and it just finally came out to where we either one who's around them that knows the devil, that we can be able to pin it out and be like, that is wrong, deal with it, because it's going to end up going deeper and deeper and deeper in your heart or spirit, and it's not going to be able to move unless God tells it to move. In Galatians 3, 1 and 2, through 5 to 8 in the Message Bible, it says, so if you're serious about living this new resurrection life with Christ, act like it. Pursue the things over which Christ presides. Don't shuffle along, eyes to the ground, absorbed with the things right in front of you. Look up and be alert to what is going on around Christ. That's where the action is. See things from his perspective. Your old life is dead. Your new life, which is your real life, even though invisible to spectators, is with Christ and God. He is your life. When Christ, your real life, remember, shows up again on this earth, you'll show up to the real you, the glorious you. Meanwhile, be content with obscurity like Christ. That means it's okay to be weird with God. And that means killing off everything connected with that way of death. sexual promiscuity, impurity, lust, doing whatever you feel like whenever you feel like it, and grabbing whatever attracts your fancy. That's a life shaped by the things and feelings instead of God. It's because of this kind of thing that God is about to explode in anger. It wasn't long ago that you were doing all that stuff and not knowing any better, but you know better now. So make sure it's all gone for good. Bad temper, irritability, meanness, profanity, dirty talk. Wow. It's time to let God finish what he has started in our lives. It's our choice. It's always a choice. That's why God says to act like it when we finally get to the point where we want to serve him. And it doesn't become a have to for us. It becomes, we should want to love him. It becomes a want to, because he loves us. It's a relationship. It's a personal relationship. Nobody goes into a relationship that they don't want to be in. Maybe sometimes they do, but I wouldn't understand that. Nobody goes into a relationship that somehow they didn't love each other in the first place to get into that relationship. Maybe other people do, but I wouldn't understand it either. It's so personal. It's so personal. However, God also is very serious with us, and he wants us to know that he loves us. However, he's very just and a very righteous God, and a very much of a person who will have consequences just so that we can learn our lesson to the point where we won't have to do that anymore, because he loves us that much. He's not a God that throws lightning bolts to us every time we do something wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to say that. However, he is very righteous, and he's meant to be respected. He's meant to be revered. He's meant to be, we're meant to love him in a holy love, and meant to love him through the holy fear, out of respect. We're not supposed to fear God because we're scared of God. People get that wrong. We're not scared of God because the Bible says to fear him. He says to love him with a holy fear.